welcome on in to the Diesel Simulation Stadium. And we are live. Tonight, we are doing the 2025 College Football Simulation Season Preview. For the first time, live right here on this channel. We are doing a season preview. Tonight what I want to do is simulate the regular season, simulate the playoffs, and get our winner, Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, and we're also going to look at the conferences, the standings, and the final top 25. That's all on tap for tonight. So here's some, excuse me, here are the rules. Not really rules, but here's the way that I'm doing this tonight. We're obviously playing a dynasty. This is an active roster. All games are going to be computer versus computer. Heisman difficulty for it. And there are no custom conferences. We have chosen the Ohio State Buckeyes because they are the national champions. And what we're going to do is simulate through all the settings are automatic. So we're not doing any recruiting. We're not doing anything over the top than just watching and simulating. All right. So I wanted to just get those rules out before we started with what we were doing. All right. Let me just. So here we can see the top 25 rankings here to start off. This is different than the way it currently is, but according to EA, this is the rankings for it. I guess they haven't updated their rankings. Like Clemson's number 4, Georgia's number 5. But these are going to be the rankings that we're going to go with as we begin our season simulation. All right, sorry, got a little runny nose here. I don't want to be sniffling in the camera the entire time. So there we go. So that's what we're up against. This is what we're going to do. Welcome to the show. We've got some top games for the week. For the weeks leading up, we'll get into some conference stuff, non-conference stuff, and some big time stuff that we got looking into. Long process, but we're going to start from the beginning and work our way to the very end. All right, let's get started. All right, I'm a little slow on the controls tonight, guys, so. But we'll get there. We'll speed it up. and we will get it going in just a few minutes. All right, week 0, which is this current week that we're currently in. Today is August 21st. So Saturday night, there are 4 matchups: Kansas State, Iowa State, Fresno State, Kansas, Sam Houston, Western Kentucky, and Stanford is out in Hawaii. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to simulate the season, or simulate the week, and we'll get going with the next week here. So in week 0, there were no real top games to really talk about. But let's get to schedules here. But in this particular week, in week 1 here, there are a couple games that we have to look at as top conference, non-conference, or just top games in general. The first game that I want to highlight is this Nebraska versus Cincinnati. And the reason that I want to look at this is because the Huskers have a new look offense, and they're going to debut at Arrowhead Stadium against the Bearcats, who are a very, very dangerous team. So this is going to be one of the games that we are looking forward to. One of the top games. It's a under the radar 12-pack game. It's an under the radar game that obviously we're going to be looking forward to in this one. The second game that I wanted to highlight was Auburn versus Baylor on Friday night. This is a very important game. Baylor is going after a very desperate SEC opponent in Auburn. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Baylor Bears do. Next, we've got Georgia Tech going to Colorado. And this game, I think, is important because this is going to be the first game without Shedeur Sanders, the post, Travis Hunter. So how will the Buffaloes ultimately fare against this without any of the top stars that we noticed and had last year? Which then brings us to Saturday's games. And the most obvious one for the week. Can I get... Oh, I see I'm in American. I hit the wrong button, see? All right. So the most obvious one on Saturday is Ohio State, Texas. This is just the big game just because you've got a huge national title forefronters game. It's the first 1 versus 2 regular season matchup since 22. Well, it's not 1 versus 2, so technically this statement is false, but it would have been the first one since 2022. So this is just a big game with national championship repercussions all over it. So of course that's going to be a big one that everyone's going to be watching for, whether you're a fan of the Buckeyes or the Longhorns. It's still going to have huge implications on that. The next one is LSU versus Clemson. This is 2 big elite programs, and there's a lot of pressure in this one. And who's going to squeak out 7 versus 8 also in the standings? Although I know these standings aren't the real ones, but 7 and 8 is still a huge game in that way. Alabama, Florida State is a non-conference game, but it is another big one. Let me just see if I can find my notes here. Okay. I don't really have my notes in front of me for this particular game, but it is, of course, obviously a huge game. There it is, Alabama, Florida State. Two teams, there's a lot to prove here. And this is a marquee SEC versus ACC matchup during this opening weekend. And a game that is just another improved one is that I wanted to look at real fast was we just might Utah versus UCLA. UCLA has a debut with Nico here, and he comes against a much improved opponent. So this is going to be another big one. And of course, we round out the weekend here on Sunday. On Sunday, there are well, let's first look at the Monday night matchup. TCU versus North Carolina. TCU North Carolina is important because this just gets national hype because of course it is Bill Belichick's first game in North Carolina. The other two games I have is Notre Dame at Miami. Where they beat Penn State in the playoff semifinal. And the other game that I have is South Carolina versus Virginia Tech. And that's important. It's an under the radar game, but that's important because Shane Beamer takes on his father's former program in Atlanta. So that's just kind of a big one in its own right because of the nostalgia with it. So let's check out the first week here. We are going to simulate it through. And I don't want to get too far into, what the records are weekly, what we're looking at, but just to kind of give a little one. They have the Buckeyes beating Texas. We'll go back and we'll check it out, which means the Buckeyes technically would be the #1 seed. But let's just check out what we got here, especially for the big games that we wanted to look at. Virginia Tech is going to beat South Carolina. Notre Dame is going to lose to Miami. Bill Belichick puts up 59 in his debut. Let's just see here. Nebraska beats Cincinnati. And Ohio State beats Texas 31-24. As you can see, Tennessee beats Syracuse. What else here? Alabama beats Florida State. And let's see, Clemson beats up on LSU 41-21. So that's week 1. Here in week 2, We're just going to keep moving this along. We're not going to try to read a storyline for each one here. But in week 2, Michigan, Oklahoma, Iowa, Iowa State, Army versus Kansas State, Illinois versus Duke, and Kansas at Missouri are 5 games that I'm looking forward to for here week 2. We're actually going to sim to week 4 here, but in the meantime, you know, Texas Tech, Notre Dame is another big game that we're looking forward to here on September 13th. Duke and Tulane on the 13th. September 20th. I care about all this stuff. September 20th, Florida and Miami go head-to-head. SMU, TCU, Tulane, Ole Miss are a couple games that we're really looking forward to. But here in week 4, we're going to be here in week 4. Let's check out the top 25. Ohio State still at number 1 since week 1. Penn State at number 2. Both teams are undefeated, getting ready for a big showdown in the later weeks. And Georgia, Clemson, Miami, and Oregon all in the top 6, all undefeated. 3 of those teams are in a bye week this week. Miami takes on Florida here, which is a big one. Texas, as you can see, down at number 8. They are 2-1 since losing to Ohio State. Everyone else is kind of following suit as such. Indiana 3-0 down there at number 12. Last week they were ranked 16th. They're going to jump up to number 12. And we go from there. Now let's just simulate to week 6. We're just kind of plowing ahead here. The end of the day, obviously, is to see the winners in the playoffs, to get to the playoffs and the conference championship. So we're going to get that far into it as well. Buckeyes dropped to number 2, but they are 4-0. Let's check out that top 25. Who is the number 1 seed? Penn State is the number 1 team. Penn State beat Oregon last week. Ohio State beat Washington. Oregon ranked, which is probably why Penn State jumped them. But as you can see, we still have 5 teams now in the top 5 undefeated. But as you can see, Arizona State, Oklahoma, Indiana, and BYU, and even Louisville down there in number 13, all still undefeated, making a little bit of wave there. Arizona State's got a bye week, Indiana with a bye, Oregon with a bye. So we'll see what happens to their rankings once the bye week hits. Let's check out here week 6. Of course, we go to the Big Ten because that's what we're controlling. As you can see, the Buckeyes, Penn State, Indiana, and Rutgers. Rutgers cracking the top 25 there. 5-0 so far for the season. Big Ten having a good year. Conference USA, Sam Houston at 2-2, Liberty 3-2. Independence, Notre Dame at 2-2, UConn at 3-2. In the MAC, Toledo and Buffalo at 5-0. Everyone else as such. Mountain West, Boise State Broncos at 4-0. Fresno State at 3-2. The Pac-12, Washington State, probably going to win that division. Well, we'll see. Here's the SEC where the big boys play. Georgia and Oklahoma undefeated at this point. But still a tough race. Very interesting to see this, though, and it's interesting to me at least. through 6 weeks, and Texas has yet to play a conference game. Very interesting. In the Sun Belt, Southern Mississippi, undefeated on that. And the Sun Belt East, Southern Georgia. Georgia Southern, sorry, at 3-2. And the Sun Belt West. Oh, okay. The ACC, Clemson up. Clemson at Louisville, Duke, Boston College, and Virginia. I've run many simulations where Duke has won the national championship. It's not going to happen in real life, and I'm hoping that realistically we don't get that. But it is simulation, so as we know, simulation is not always what we're thinking it could be. In the American League, American Division, Memphis at 4-1, and Army at 3-1. And in the Big 12, Arizona State, BYU, Arizona, still undefeated. That drops us down to the Big 10. All right, let's simulate to the first college football playoff poll. Many good games coming up. I think we're going to miss the Penn State-Ohio State game on November 1st, but we'll see where that comes from. But that is a big one as well. So hopefully that one goes well. Victor, well, we have a committed. Not really worried about it because we're not playing Season 2. The Buckeyes are ranked number 7th, so they have taken a drop. 6-1. Okay, well, there you go. There's the big week. So we kind of stopped where I wanted it to stop. Here's the college football playoff top 25. First time. First rankings. So it'll be Oregon, Georgia, Arizona State, Indiana, Miami, and Florida. Buckeyes at number 7. And Oklahoma, Clemson, and Louisville rank out the top 10. And in the coaches poll, Oregon number 1, Georgia number 2. And in the media poll, we're going to see Oregon number 1. So Oregon is the number 1 team in the country. And the Penn State-Ohio State game, big matchup for both teams. If the playoffs were to start today, here's what they would look like. All right, sorry about that. That's what it would look like. Oregon number 1, Georgia number 2, Arizona 3, and Indiana number 4. 2 Big Tens in the top 4. All right, so let's simulate now week 6. And week 10. I don't know why I keep calling it week 6. I'm sorry. Let's simulate week 10. And see who wins the big Ohio State Penn State game. Ohio State is ranked number 6, so they obviously won. Let's head back to week 10. And the Buckeyes beat Purdue. They beat Penn State. What am I doing? Ohio State beat Penn State 38-32. Penn State drops to 6-2. The Buckeyes go to 7-1. Here in week 11, college football playoffs top 25. The Buckeyes rose to number 6. Clemson jumped from 9 up to 7. Louisville jumped up 2 spots, and so did Texas. Nebraska jumped up 4 spots from 14 up to 10. So that was some big jumps. And then the Penn State stayed at 15. USC took a huge bump from 16 down to 12. Oklahoma lost to Tennessee. They took a huge bump down from 8 down to 20. And Duke out of the top 20 as well. If the playoffs were to begin today in week 11, here's what our new playoff bracket looks like. Still two Big Ten members in the top 4. First round bye, of course, this year. Ohio State goes to number 6, Clemson 7. Tulane staying strong at number 12. Let's now simulate down to week 12. We are looking for simulation here, any type of major upsets. Buckeyes look to stay at number 6. The top 25. Georgia is now the number 1 team, as they beat Mississippi 52-38. Oregon, the second team, number 2. The Buckeyes stayed at number 6. Arizona dropped from 3 down to 5, but Indiana and Miami popped up. Everyone else just kind of staying. USC, as you can see there, number 12. They bumped from 16 up to 12, and look at that. Baylor jumps into the top 15 from 19 up to 13 in a bye. Oklahoma bumped up. Duke came back up. And if the playoffs were to start here in week 12, here's what we're looking at. 2 Big Tens again. Tulane dropping in number 12 still. Buckeyes stay at 6. Clemson stays at 7. We are getting now to week 13. The Buckeyes dropped to 14. What the holy heck? Let's check out the top 25. The Buckeyes lost to UCLA 32-24. So they dropped from 14 down to 6. Georgia's still the number 1 team. Oregon, number 2. Clemson rose up from 7th spot to the 3rd spot. Miami and Arizona stayed the same. Indiana lost, they dropped. Duke rose up. Nebraska, Utah rose up. Very, very interesting here, the late pushes. The bracket for the week. Buckeyes are gone, but Indiana drops from the 4th down to the 10th. Georgia 1, Oregon 2, Clemson 3, Miami 4, Tulane at 12, Arizona State at 5. Star means that they've clinched, I believe. Simulate week 13 now. Let's get to week 14. Can the Buckeyes get back into it? We are looking for the national champions. Can they do a back-to-back, or are we looking at a new champion? They rose up to number 12, so they must have won. Yeah, they won. Buckeyes hit number 11. They beat the Rutgers 28-29. Clemson has risen. Clemson has risen to the number 1 team in the league, in the land, followed by Miami, Arizona State, USC, Texas Tech. Oregon dropped due to the loss to USC. Georgia lost. Georgia dropped from 1 down to 8 due to their loss against Charlotte. Very interesting. This is once again why we love simulation mode. Simulations are sweet. Here's the bracket as of now. Clemson number 1, Miami number 2, Arizona State 3, USC 4. Duke hits the top 10. Once again, they're my scary team. Every time I simulate, they win. So we're going to see what they do. Ohio State back in the playoffs at number 11. Georgia drops in to number 8. It is now rivalry week. The big rivals for the week. We don't need to see the games. Let's just get to the simulation. Can Ohio State finally beat Michigan, or will Michigan continue their win streak against the Buckeyes? In fact, if they beat the Buckeyes, I think they knock them out. And they lost. They lost. Here's the top 25. Clemson remains number 1. Arizona State rises from 3 to 2. Oregon 6 to 3. Texas Tech 5 to 4. And you can see so on and so on. Michigan beating the Ohio State Buckeyes rolls into number 14th, as you can see. So here in week 15, here's what the playoffs look like as of right now. Clemson number 1, Arizona State 2, Oregon 3, Texas Tech 4. 5 is Georgia, 6 is Indiana, 7 Miami, 8 Tulane, 9 USC, 10 Illinois, 11 Texas, and 12th is Vanderbilt. The Buckeyes have a bye week this week, so let's simulate the week. Let's see, what are the games this week? Very important game, the Army-Navy game. And now I believe we are going to get into the I believe this is going to be the conference champions again. Conference championships. It's the conference championships. The conference championships goes like this. The AAC, and this is our simulation. So here's what we're up against, guys. Here we go. The AAC championship. The USF takes on Tulane. The ACC championship, Miami versus Clemson. The Big 12 is Texas Tech, Arizona State. Sorry, Texas Tech, Arizona State. The Big 10 is Indiana takes on Oregon. Sam Houston takes on Middle Tennessee for Conference USA. The MAC championship is Miami of Ohio take on Toledo. San Jose State takes on Boise State for the Mountain West. The SEC championship is Texas, Georgia. Big game. Texas, Georgia. And the Sun Belt, Arkansas State versus Georgia State. We're going to sim ahead here. In this particular simulation, the Ohio State Buckeyes are going to be playing against Kansas in the Rate Bowl. Yay. But let's check out who won the conference championships last week as we begin bowl season. Let's go to the conference championship. The AAC championship was won by Tulane. The ACC championship was won by Clemson. Texas Tech won the Big 12. Oregon won the Big 10. Conference USA was won by Middle Tennessee. The MAC championship was won by Toledo. Mountain West, the Boise State Broncos will win the Mountain West. The SEC championship will be won by Texas. And the Sun Belt will be won by Georgia State. So there you go, guys. That's who's going to win the conference championships. College football top 25. Actually, let's look at let's just look at the brackets. Let's not fool around with all this other stuff. Here are the brackets that the college football playoffs are going to look like in a couple months. There they are. Clemson number 1, Oregon number 2, Texas Tech 3, Arizona 4, Arizona State is going to go 4th. 5th Georgia, 6th Indiana, Texas at 7, Tulane at 8, Miami at 9, Illinois 10, USC 11, and Vanderbilt round in at 12. As we simulate round 1 of the playoffs. Not worried about the Buckeyes. Let's check out the bracket now for the playoffs. Here we go. Pew. Georgia beat Vanderbilt. Miami beat Tulane. Indiana beat USC, and Texas beat Illinois. Our quarterfinal matchups are Georgia versus Arizona State, Miami at Clemson, Indiana, Texas Tech, and Texas, Oregon. Let's get to the next week, shall we? Simulations are always interesting. We don't have the teams always that we think we're going to have. This is going to be very interesting. We head to the semifinal. Final 4, if you will. Arizona State beat Georgia. Clemson beat Miami. Texas Tech took down Indiana. And Texas beat Oregon. So the semifinal matchups. Arizona State, Clemson, Texas Tech versus Texas. Who is going to make the national championship? Who's going to do it, guys? Texas Clemson are going to be our national championship game. According to EA Sports, Texas and Clemson. That's going to be the one. We also have the Heisman winner, but we're going to check out that after the national championship game. After we have our national championship game, we will look at all the awards, everything. Clemson is going to be our 2025 national champion, according to EA Sports. They did it. They beat the Texas Longhorns, and they are going to be the national champions in 2025 in our season preview show. Right here, Clemson. Now let's check out the final top 25. There's the finals as we end the first season here. Clemson 1, Texas 2, Texas Tech 3, Oregon 4, and dropping. And there it is. All right, let's check out the awards. Heisman winner. The 2025 Heisman is going to be from Georgia, the junior from Georgia, wide receiver Zachariah Branch. He is who we are picking for the Heisman Trophy this year. Number 2 is Cade Klubnik, which is, I believe, the front runner. I believe, at this point. But Zachariah wins. Interested in all the award winners? So the Maxwell, which is obviously the player of the year, goes to Zachariah Branch. The Walter Camp, Zachariah Branch. Head coach of the year is going to be Toledo's Jason Candle. Quarterback of the year is Cade. Defensive player of the year is Ruben Bain. And the 2025 college football history update. Clemson beats Texas for the national championship. So as we finish our conference, as we finish our little show here today, the Big Ten is going to be won by Oregon. Conference USA is by Middle Tennessee. Notre Dame, I don't know if that's really a division. The MAC is won by Toledo. Toledo runs the table at 14-0. Boise State wins the Mountain West. Pac-12 is won by Oregon State. Georgia wins the SEC, but Texas goes to the national championship game. And the Sun Belt, the East, is won by Georgia State. The West is won by Arkansas State. And the ACC, the winner of the ACC division, is the national champion winner, Clemson. All right, guys, that's going to do it. That was really the show. Thanks for joining me. This is it. This is the way that the league is going to go this year. Clemson's going to be your national champion. This is what we're predicting. This is what we're thinking. No Ohio State, no Michigan, no Penn State, no Oklahoma. That's it. Tulane and Vanderbilt. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here tonight for this short stream, but it was a very important stream. The national champion, the college football season preview. Thank you so much for joining me. Write in the comments what you think. Do you agree? Do you not agree? I have a feeling a lot of you aren't going to agree. I just have that sneaky feeling, but that's okay. I'm also going to simulate this after we get done here. I'm going to simulate the seasons like 10 times and see what we can come up with. See the national championships, and that'll be posted on my socials on Facebook. Alrighty. All right, guys. I will talk to you all on soon. Join me on Tuesday night as we get ready for the Madden season premiere show, which will be next Thursday. So join me for that as we dissect into Madden. Well, basically, we dissect into the NFL and we simulate the season and we get who will be our Super Bowl winner. And then we'll do some other simulational stuff maybe as well. All right, guys, that'll do it. Clemson is the diesel pick of the year. Clemson to win the national championship over Texas. Have a great night. I will see you soon. Like and subscribe. Thanks. Good night.